Hello and welcome to Tucker Games. Just finished West Ham United 1, Crystal Palace 1. I might sound excited, but there was nothing very exciting about that. Probably a fair result in the end. I would argue that we possibly edged the game. We'll get onto it. But did we do enough to win? No. But if we did, it was more because of Crystal Palace or what Crystal Palace didn't do rather than what we did do. Another disappointing performance, result-wise, it's not the end of the world. A draw against a Crystal Palace, it's not the worst one. But in regards to how we played, the attitude of the team, the desire of the team, the substitutions from the management, it feels like the same thing again. You can copy and paste complaints from various other games this season into this one as well. I felt that we looked pretty comfortable, but again, Palace were not very good at all today. They are not a good team. And regardless of what you're trying to achieve this season, when you're West Ham, whether you're a side like us, Aston Villa or Brighton, when Crystal Palace rock up at your place, you need to win that game, whether you're trying to get European football, top half finish, just staying away from relegation. Even if you're in a relegation battle, you can imagine the likes of Everton or Bournemouth are looking at Palace at home as a fixture where they have to get 3 points. So while label this one up as a must-win game, not necessarily in regards to how it's going to impact your season, but just in regards to keeping the momentum going, keeping the confidence high. But there wasn't much of that in the game, confidence or momentum. Anyway, we're here to discuss the handful of highlights there is, as well as some individual player performances. But before I go any further, please do subscribe. We're trying to fill Upton Park before Christmas. The final capacity at the bowling ground was 35,012 people. So we're now under 200. We need less than 200 subscribers in order to fill Upton Park with our subscribers. It'd be a nice milestone to hit. I'm copying West Ham Fan TV, albeit they did it with the London Stadium, but we're doing it with the bowling ground just because, we'll hit it sooner. And then we'll turn our attentions to 50,000 in the London Stadium. But please do subscribe if you're new around here. Now, we didn't have to wait long to get our goal. Mohammed Kudus after 13 minutes. And you know something? This was a fantastic team goal. The play was beautiful. The pass from James Ward-Prowse was excellent from the middle of the park right out over to the right-hand side. So good that Soufal didn't even need to control it. It just bounced down nicely for him, didn't have to break his stride. All he had to do was pick someone out in the box. And he did. He didn't put on a plate. He cut it back to Mohammed Kudus on his right foot, his weaker side. Takes a deflection of Gay. I don't really care. It's a really good goal. Ward-Prowse, Soufal, Kudus, excellent from all three of them in the back of the net. 1-0 West Ham. And while it wasn't against the run of play in the sense that Crystal Palace weren't doing anything, but for the first 13 minutes, there wasn't really much in the way of attacks. Both keepers still had their gloves clean, but we went 1-0 up. And I thought it was a really good team goal. Then from then till half-time, there was nothing. Absolutely nothing. And not just from West Ham, from Crystal Palace either. Jared Bowen had the next best chance in open play. Anderson went closest with a free kick, which was deflected wide, and Alvarez was out of it because of the deflection, just wide of the far post. Jared Bowen, a superb ball from there for Gerd. The run from Bowen is wonderful. The pass from Gerd is fantastic. And he's unlucky, Bowen. He does what he can to get onto it because Gay's a physical defender, gives him a shove just as he kicks it. Comfortable enough from Johnson. But the play was really good. It was really promising. But apart from that, there was just nothing. Absolutely nothing. I thought we were looking comfortable at halftime. Not because we were playing Crystal Palace off the park, just because Crystal Palace had little to no invention about them whatsoever. They had one player in Elise. The rest of them, they could barely do anything. Edouard was out of the game. Ayew just spent the game running around, tripping up Kudus. Will Hughes didn't offer anything, as you'd expect, from a number 10 role. Lerma and Richards, they're not there to create. Crystal Palace had nothing. They had one threat, give the ball to Elise. But I thought we were handling him relatively well in the first half. When Emerson wasn't there, Gerd was getting out to him pretty quick, and he wasn't afraid to step out of that defensive role either to go and close Elise down. I thought we'd sort of targeted Elise a little bit to make sure that he wasn't able to impact the game. So at halftime, we were comfortable. But my big frustration was there was opportunities in the first half while we were leading to push on. There was passes there to be had that we didn't do it. And James Ward-Prowse is one of the culprits for this, because maybe the 35 minute, roughly, halfway between half-time and Kudus scoring. The run from Soufal's there, he goes down the right-hand side, albeit he's deeper. He's not running alongside the 18-yard line, maybe 30 yards from goal. He's free out on the right. Ward-Prowse has got it, facing Soufal, in a similar situation and position where he gave it to him for the goal. You could tell he's seen him. He just hesitated, turned and went back to Gerd with it. And you could hear the groans from the crowd, and understandably so. The lack of desire to get forward, the lack of bravery or creativity or risks from us in that first half, there was none, absolutely none. We just turned up, played it safe. And you could, well, I say you could argue it was working. It did work. We were leading 1-0. It was just boring, and I think unnecessarily boring. This is not a good side we're up against. Had we been 1-0 up at home to Liverpool and it was boring, then good, I'd say brilliant, that's what we want. We want it to be boring. We want the low tempo, but not when, with the greatest of respect to them, not when you're home to Crystal Palace. You don't want that. You want a bit of intensity. You want some attacking threat. You want to feel like we want to win that game by more than a goal. There was none of that. Anyway, in the second half, we did what we always do, concede within the first 10 minutes of the restart. Now, usually it's, I say lack of concentration, it is lack of concentration, but usually it's a team thing. Usually the entire team is a little bit lackluster after restart for whatever reason. Well, it's not the team this time, it's one man in particular, Konstantinos Mavropanos. Again, we're just knocking the ball about at the back like we've been doing for the first 50 minutes, just pass between centre-backs, pass. Gerd gives it to Alvarez, gives it to Mavropanos. Now, Alvarez is behind Mavropanos, so he's passing in the right direction, but he just doesn't know Edouard's there. She gives it right to Édouard, who does okay. It's not a fantastic finish. I'm not going to sit here and pretend. Well, Ariola did have no chance because he scuffed it. He bobbled into the far corner. He sort of ankled it into the ground almost, into the far corner. So because it was such a poor hit, it took Ariola out of the game. It went behind Alvarez. So there's a lot of element of luck there from Édouard, but he was in the right place. He read the play. He got it. He went and scored 1-1. And I do feel that that was the only way Crystal Palace were going to score today. Us doing something, us being the own victim of our downfall. And we were. It's down to one man, Mavropanos. What he was doing, I do know what he was doing. He didn't know Édouard was there. How he doesn't know Édouard was there, I don't know. Because while he's received the ball, Édouard hasn't moved. It's not like he came running over and to close them down at that. He was just stood wandering around on the same blade of grass as they were when he picked the ball up. So how he's forgot Édouard's there in the space of 2 seconds, I do not know. But it's a stupid error from him. It's a silly mistake. And I actually thought he was having a decent game up until this point, Mavropanos. And I actually think overall, his all-round game was fine. He did one mistake the whole game. He just got punished for it. But at one point, up until then, I felt like him and Gerd were the biggest goal threats to Crystal Palace in the sense of creators, not as in the finishing, but in the sense of who's going to create something. It's probably one of those two. Not good enough. Anyway, 1-1. For the next 20 minutes or something, it's just boring. Both teams, nothing's happening. Ariola, Sam Johnson, they might as well have had a seat. There was nothing going on whatsoever. There was a lot of heading tennis going on, quite scrappy. Michael Oliver was letting a lot go. There's a lot of physical altercations, a lot of tripping up going on. He just let it all go, and I thought it was well refereed. It was a bit frustrating at times, but he was fair. I think he let things go for both teams. I think Paqueta got away with a booking, for example. So I think it was well refed, but it was just boring. There was nothing. Crystal Palace fans must have been bored as well. They had little intent. It was a case of, if Elise ain't going to do anything, we're done. For West Ham, if Kudus isn't going to go and do anything, we're done. Because he was our only threat from open play. It was the Kudus and Elise show out there tonight. Both of them. Each team had one player looking really good, looking really dangerous, and then 10 others making up the numbers to some extent. The last 10 minutes, we had a go. For the last 10 minutes of that game, there was only one team that wanted to win it, and that was West Ham. And that's why at the start I said I think we might have edged it. We might have been slightly better. Did we do enough in order to go on and win the game? No, absolutely not. But I do think we were slightly better than Crystal Palace in the sense that we wanted to win it. But of course that's going to be the case. We're the side that's at home with 10 minutes to go in the Premier League. This is a good point for Crystal Palace. They're missing Decoy, they're missing Eze. we've still got really good players, despite what we think of the manager or the way that we played today. We've still got really, really good players. So I can understand why Palace were happy with the draw. So we were going for the win. But I tell you what, right? In the last few games, I've been frustrated. I felt that we were lucky against TSC back at Chipola on Thursday. I thought we were lucky against Burnley. And I actually thought we deserved the win against Nottingham Forest. But the one thing those three games all had in common, and it doesn't take a genius to work this out, Thomas Souček scoring the winner. So something's working for us. Thomas Souček in the box, getting on the end of crosses. It's worked. It's our get out of jail card. We played it in the last three games, albeit one of them was a set piece. But from open to play, the last two games, we picked up 4 points, granted different competitions, through crosses into Souček and last minute winners. Today, Souček wasn't in the box until the 90th plus minute. In the late 70s, early 80s minutes, Souček was the deepest midfielder. Alvarez was ahead of him, and Ward-Prowse was playing left midfield, so we could accommodate Lucas Paqueta as striker. Jared Bowen wasn't working as striker. Fine, it's going to happen. There's going to be games he's going to struggle. There was a suspicion it's games, teams with a low block, Bowen would struggle against. He was struggling to impact this game. Kudus was doing really well out on the right-hand side. Kudus was doing fantastic on the right-hand side. So what's the solution? Let's take Kudus out of the right-hand side. The one player that's playing really well, let's move him. I agree. Bowen needed moved, but not at the expense of Kudus, who was performing really well. But because we then had to move Bowen out there, Kudus came over, Paqueta went central, Ward-Prowse came over to the left side as well, which meant Souček couldn't go into the 18-yarder. So the one thing that has actually worked for us in the last three games, the one thing that has actually posed a threat, we couldn't use it. That is, forget it. We're not going to bother with it. It was just bonkers. We were crossing the ball until Fornals came on. Once Fornals came on, we switched up a little bit. Souček started getting into the box. But until that point, we were crossing it to James Ward-Prowse in the box. Oh, yeah, that prolific goal scorer with his head, James Ward-Prowse. He was in the box at the back post, while Souček was 30 yards outside the 18-yarder. Honestly, it's just mind-boggling, absolutely mind-boggling. I've said in past videos, I like the fact that Souček's a goal threat. I just don't like relying on it. I dislike it. I dislike the fact that we don't know what to do until we get to the point where we put Souček in the box and cross it. Now, that's an effective tactic. I don't mind the tactic. I just don't like relying on it. We didn't even rely on it today. The one thing that's been working for us, we didn't do it. It's just madness, absolute madness. He did go in the box for the last couple of minutes, and while he didn't get on the end of the header, he was causing chaos. Jared Bowen with the header, straight at Sam Johnson, comfortable save. Bowen's unlucky, does his best, but Souček's there right behind him. Just frustrating. It really is absolutely frustrating. We had a goal disallowed, which I've got no complaints about. It's rightfully disallowed. Kudus swung it in. Souček's offside, goes for the ball, doesn't touch it, goes in the back of the net, but he's interfering in play. That was down the other end. I'd want that disallowed all day long. Sam Johnson literally moves his hands. When Souček swings at it, Sam Johnson moves. So you can't say that he doesn't. He 100% interferes with play. Got zero complaints whatsoever about the disallowed goal. So come the end of the game, I was just incredibly frustrated. Brought Fornals on in like the 87th minute. I mean, that's one way of telling your player you've got confidence in him, isn't it? In fact, tell your whole bench. But where's Maxwell Cornet? Cornet comes off the bench on Thursday and makes a difference, sets up the winner. So today we don't bring him on. What? Fornals has a shocker, another poor game on Thursday night. So he's the one we bring. Do you know something? He wasn't actually that bad. When Fornals came on, I thought he was okay. Didn't do anything brilliant, but he provided the cross, put the cross in that Bowen headed. It's unlucky. It's a decent enough cross. But we waited until the 87th minute. We didn't need Alvarez for the final 10 minutes before he came off. Ward-Prowse was on a yellow card and a couple of decent crosses, but when he was out on the left, he was completely ineffective. He was just there running around after Joe Ward, of all players. Just bonkers. A lot of the times, I can see what Moyes is trying to do. I disagree with it, but I get it, right? I don't want to see it, but I can see what he's trying to do. Today, I don't have that. I don't have that understanding what Moyes was trying to do with Ward-Prowse on the left, taking Kudus away, not bringing on even if you bring on, he didn't bring on Ings, which is good, but didn't bring on Mubama either. But didn't bring on Kone, the guy that made a difference on Thursday night. What's the point? You know, Kone after the game of Thursday, it was a great interview. You know, I'm waiting for minutes. I'm waiting my time. Hopefully, I get more minutes. I'll do my best. But it was the perfect attitude that you want to hear as a fan. His reward: sit there and watch us punting balls into the box with Souček 20 yards outside it. Just absolutely crazy. I'm annoyed today. I'm really annoyed after that one. Actually, it doesn't feel like a defeat or anything. It feels like we've joined the game. We have joined the game. Like I said, I think we were the better of the two sides slightly, but not because of something we did. It's because Crystal Palace were terrible. They had zero intent to win that game. They didn't want to. They came for a draw. They got the draw. Job done for Roy Hodgson. Job done for Crystal Palace. We shut Elise down for the vast majority of the game, and it worked. Just frustrating. Anyway, before we talk about one or two more things, I've already asked you to subscribe. Hopefully you've done that. Please do drop a like on the video as well. Now, tomorrow we have our Christmas special, our Christmas offers kick off tomorrow. So tomorrow morning from 8:30 in the morning, there will be an offer on the website. It will last for 24 hours only, but on Tuesday there'll be a new offer. That's going to be going over the next 8 days. So tune into this channel and the forum channel at 8:30 tomorrow to find out what the first offer is. And as part of the offers, we're offering 16% off annual membership at Patreon. 16% is the maximum we can do. We haven't done it because of Martin Noble. It's usually 10%. But 16% for the next 8 days only. So next Tuesday, it'll go back down to 10%. So you want to join Patreon or you want to get it for someone for the Christmas. Now, you can't gift it. You'll have to sign up with their email address. Go to patreon.com/HammersChat. Links in description. Any and all support is greatly appreciated. But Christmas offers start tomorrow. I'm going to leave it there. One thing I will say, man of match is by a country mile, Mohammed Kudus. I thought he was excellent today. Not just his goal, got the goal, but his all-round performance. I thought he really troubled Mitchell at left back. Whenever he got the ball, he looked like he was trying to make something happen, looking like he could make something happen. And today, individually, I don't think we played badly. I think everybody had a decent game. One major error from Mavropanos. Areola was fine. Emerson was fine. A couple of good runs. Agerd was good. I thought Mavropanos was good, bar the mistake. Soufal was fine. Couple of crosses could be better, but he was okay. Ward-Prowse was okay. Alvarez was okay. Souček was fine. Paqueta, not the best game, but he was okay. He wasn't terrible. He was okay. Kudus was excellent. Bowen was anonymous, but he was okay. He did what he could do within the parameters allowed to him. And then I'm missing a player. Who am I missing? No, I'm not. That's all the players covered. That's the 11 players. Well, they did okay. But that's the worst thing. I will, to some extent, I defend Moyes when the players play crap. When the players are rubbish, I think, well, it's hard to completely blame the manager when the players play like that. But when the players actually do all right, as they all did, in my opinion, and you still don't win, I struggle to blame the players for it. It's a tactical thing. And like I said, there's the Souček, the lack of Souček in the box is wild. The lack of substitutions is frustrating. We had one game plan today, and it wasn't working in the first half. I think it could have worked. We chose not to really give it a good go. Just lack of intent. The attitude was poor. But in the second half, we just continued with it until we changed it a bit. Paqueta moved central and Ward-Prowse came out to the left for the second half. But that didn't work. That did not make us any better. I'd argue it made us weaker. And then he brings on Fornals. Well, first of all, he moved, like I said, he moved Bowen out to the right and Kudus over to the left and Paqueta through the middle. I think that made us weaker. I would argue Moyes' tactical tweaks, two of them, made us worse because the last one prevented Souček from getting in that box because he had to stay central because James Ward-Prowse was now out on the left-hand side. Had Ward-Prowse been central, we'd have been able to have Souček go forward. Like against Burnley, Ben Rama came on, he took the left side, Ward-Prowse could sit in and allow Souček to get forward. Souček, I can't believe I'm saying this. Thomas Souček was shackled by David Moyes. He gave him the captain's armband, but actually he might as well put it around his ankle. He prevented him getting him in the box. And the one thing that's been working for us wasn't allowed to work today. And that's the thing that's pissed me off more than anything tonight. A draw, not really good enough, quite frankly. onto Thursday night when we take on Spurs. But if you enjoyed this review, please do drop a like on it. Subscribing you to Hammer's Chat. Like I said, we're not far off filling up Upton Park. Be a nice number to hit before Christmas. And I'll catch up with you tomorrow.